Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Porshea Wilkins here, and today I want to talk to you guys about personal development and growth. You know, there's a big difference between personal development and personal education. Personal education is basically you getting the information. You're reading, you're writing, you're listening, you're studying, you're learning. It's the learning process. You are educating yourself on how to become a better person. And then there's personal development, whereas you get to apply what it is that you've learned. You actually get to do something with the information. And so a lot of times people get so caught up on the educating part that they don't do anything with it, and they wonder why they're still in the same place. Now, there's nothing wrong with being excited about learning and getting new information. I love that. But the most important thing is to be able to apply it, because when you apply it, you get the experience. And the more experiences you have with the information that you've learned, the closer you get to having an encounter. And when you have that encounter, that's when the quantum leaps of success happens. It's a moment. Whereas you've done something, you've applied something for such a long period of time, you've been working and practicing it over and over again, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it seems to everybody else, boom, the success happens. Well, it didn't happen overnight. It actually happened night after night of you taking the education and developing yourself by applying it to your situation. You know, I had a conversation with a client of mine, and they were talking about their team and their organization. They have a traditional business, and they want to change the culture of their company. And he was telling me that he has different people at different stages. And he asked me, he said, okay, what do you tell them when they're in that dark place? Because we always talk about sowing seeds and what happens when you go through that process. When a seed is sown, it must be sown in a place that is wet, dark, and kind of cool, just slightly warm, okay? And it must sit in that environment and go through the germination process. In that germination process, the seed actually dies to what it is, and then eventually the character of what it is to become starts to form. And over time, you see it blossom, whether it's a rose or a tulip or an orange tree, tomato tree, those things start to blossom. And so it must go through that process. When he asked me, he said, so what do you do when you're in that dark place where you're going through that germination phase? What would you recommend I tell my organization? And I said, well, there's no one book. He asked for books and CDs and things that they can listen to. And I told him, there's no one book to handle all issues outside of the Bible. Everything you need is in there, because you get 66 books for one, okay? But if you don't want to turn it into a very spiritual thing, and you want to keep it focused mainly on the business side, based on you gotta know your flock, you gotta know where your people are. I said there's no one book to handle everything, because everybody's at different stages. A baby, once it's born, maybe getting breastfed, and then transition to a bottle, and then to solid foods, and then next thing you know, he or she's feeding himself, and then they're cooking in the kitchen breakfast and stuff for you. It's a stage. So you can't give a baby solids when they're in a breastfeeding stage. They won't be able to handle that. They'll think it's too much, and they won't appreciate the meal and the food that is there. And so it is when it comes to building and developing a team and an organization and defining your culture. You have to understand where each person is. You got to take the time to get to know the people that are on your team. Invest time talking to them, find out about their lives, both personal and professional, so that when they seek counsel from you, you can lead them in the right and proper direction to get them educated first, and then provide a platform for them to apply what you've taught them so that they can develop as a person and become better, and at the end of the day, get the results that you're looking for in your organization. So that's the difference between personal development and personal education. I hope you're out there getting both of them done. If so, continue to do that, and definitely pass the knowledge on to somebody else. Pass it on. The scripture says we judge them by their fruits. So if you're learning and you're gaining all of this information, I encourage you to go do something with it. If you don't have a platform to practice what you've just educated yourself on through the personal education, then find someone, a person a person can be a platform for you as well. Whether you do what they call it, it's the mentor mentee programs that go on sometimes, big sister big brother programs. You know, find a youth somewhere, a child somewhere, high school, college, junior high student, and pour into their lives. Okay, share with them what you learn and what you know, so that you can make a shift in their minds. And who knows what platform they may get put on one day, and next thing you know, they're applying what they've learned from you. There was a video that came out recently of an interview of a young man after a football game. And he was fired up, man. He was giving the best motivational speech of his life, talking about, you know, he never got down. They wasn't going to lose the game. It was going to happen. It was done. You know, he was just fired up, and it went viral. It was on Good Morning America and a Today Show. And, you know, folks are just promoting how awesome it is for this young man to be in high school and understand the principles of life, understand hard work. And that's because he's taken the education that he's gotten from his coach and leveraged the platform that he's on the football team to develop himself personally. And so it's amazing what can happen when you take what you know and you pour it into the life of someone else. So keep that in mind as you go along your journey of continuing to grow and educate yourself, develop yourself, and pass it on to someone else. Thank you guys so much. This has been a Lady Wilkins Wisdom Tip for today. I hope it's been a blessing for you. If so, pass it on to someone else. And I'll see you guys on the next clip.